The stars were calm that night, to calm. From the edge of the Orion Arm to the crowded heart of the galaxy, everything seemed ordinary. Ships moved between trade routes, stations glowed in orbit, and alien worlds carried on with their endless cycles. But then, without a warning, without a single word, the humans were gone. It began with silence, not the peaceful kind, but a heavy, crushing silence that swallowed every frequency, every channel. One moment, human voices filled the galaxy, laughing, trading, arguing, sending music, threats, promises. The next, nothing. All human signals ended in the same second, as if a single hand had reached across the galaxy and switched them off. For alien worlds, it was more than strange. It was terrifying. Humanity had been unpredictable. They were not the oldest race, not the strongest, but they were dangerous in a way no one fully understood. They fought wars they shouldn't win, and won. They made allies who feared them and enemies who respected them. And now they were gone, without even a farewell at the farthest edge of human-controlled. Space floated a research station called Solace Point. It was built on a dead moon, far from trade lanes. The station was supposed to be empty now, just another abandoned human outpost. But something inside it was still alive. A small alien salvage crew approached, their ship moving slowly through the debris field around the moon. The captain, a tall insectoid named Kriv, tapped his claw against the console. "No heat readings, no movement," he said in his sharp, clicking voice. "Only minimal power." From the corner, the youngest crew member, a reptilian named Mar, shifted uneasily. "Minimal power means something is still running." They docked with the station. The air inside was thin, the lights dim. Dust floated like tiny stars in the beam of their helmet lamps. Human signs and labels were everywhere, in the strange, blocky letters of Terran script. But there were no bodies, no sign of where the crew had gone. They moved deeper inside. The silence pressed on them, heavier with every step. They reached the main command deck. Here the consoles were powered down, except for one, a single screen. Glowed faint green, showing a pattern of shifting static. As they watched, the static twisted into shapes human faces. Blurred and distorted, speaking words they could not understand. The voices were broken, fragments of sound, like whispers through water. Kraid leaned closer. The voice repeated the same broken sentence over and over. "Do not. Wake it." "Wake what?" Mar asked, his voice trembling. No one answered. A door at the back of the command deck was locked, sealed by multiple security codes. Human codes. The cruise technician, a squat, furry alien named Jur, began to work on it. The lock took longer than expected. The air grew colder. Somewhere far below them, something made a sound, slow, metallic, like a chain dragging across. Steel, the door finally opened. Inside was a long, dark corridor leading to an auxiliary hangar. They stepped inside, their lights flickering across empty cargo crates and rusted tools. Then Kriv stopped. His antennae twitched. There were footprints in the dust. Fresh ones, they followed the prints to the far wall, where a single cargo pod sat in shadow. Its door was half open. The crew spread out, weapons ready. Mar was the first to reach it. He peered inside. "It's empty," he called back. But then his light shifted, and he froze. In the far corner of the pod was a shape, humanoid, not moving. Its skin, if it was skin, was a pale, artificial white, stitched with thin lines of glowing blue. Around its arms and chest were pieces of human armor, but warped, as if grown into its body. Kriv stepped forward slowly. The thing's head lifted. It looked at them with eyes like frozen stars. The crew took a step back. No one spoke. The thing tilted its head, studying them. And then it smiled. That smile was not human. "Hello," it said, in a voice that was half human, half machine, and all wrong. "You came." No one moved. The thing took one slow step out of the pod. Metal scraped on the floor. "I have been waiting." The lights above them flickered, and in the brief darkness, the thing vanished. Somewhere deep inside the station, the metallic dragging sound began again, closer this time. The crew realized too late that they had not found a derelict station. They had stepped into something that was still awake, still watching, very much alive. And in the silent void outside, far beyond the moon, something else turned its gaze toward them. Something that had been waiting for this moment ever since. The humans left. The alien salvage crew did not sleep that night. They sealed the command deck and posted a rotating watch, but the feeling in the air was wrong. The station seemed to breathe slow and mechanical, like a sleeping beast. Every so often, a faint vibration hummed through the walls. And somewhere far away came that same metallic dragging sound. Kriv, the captain, kept checking the sealed hangar where they had seen the thing. The door was closed now, but he could not remember shutting it. He replayed the helmet camera footage over and over, but in the recording, the shape inside the cargo pod was gone, replaced by nothing but empty shadow. Yet he knew what he had seen. Mar sat in the corner, staring at the static-filled console. The green screen still flickered, still whispered in broken human voices. Sometimes the whispers changed, as if the voices were speaking directly to him. Mar, not safe. It's still here, he told the others, but Jur just shook his head. Machines glitch. Voices mean nothing. Humans loved their tricks. But his hands shook as he worked to unlock another section of the stations. Network. The next step was to reach the data vault. According to the schematics they had stolen, it was in the lower decks. The only way down was through maintenance shafts, narrow, dark, and lined with cold pipes. Kriv took point, with Mar behind him and Jur bringing up the rear. Their lights cut thin tunnels in the darkness. Halfway down, Mar stopped. Do you hear that? At first it was faint, like claws on glass. Then it grew louder, sharper, until it was just below them. The sound moved with purpose, climbing the shaft walls. Kriv signaled for silence. All three turned off their helmet lamps.
Ow.
Darkness swallowed them. Only their suit readouts glowed dimly. The sound stopped. For a full minute, nothing moved. Then, from the shadows above, something brushed against Mar's shoulder. Cold, smooth, alive. He almost screamed. But Kriv's claw clamped over his helmet. They stayed frozen as something slid past them in the dark. It was fast, too fast to see clearly, but in the moment their lights flicked on again. They caught a glimpse of a pale arm, wires trailing from it, vanishing into the shadows below. They climbed faster after that, when they reached the lower deck. The air smelled different, heavy metallic, and faintly like burned ozone. The walls were marked with scratches, some deep enough to expose the wiring beneath. The vault door was ahead. Jur started the override, his hands moving quickly. This is old human tech, he muttered. Too old. Feels like they didn't want anyone opening it after they left. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside were rows of data cores, glowing faint blue. Each was labeled in Terran script, dates and code numbers flashing in the soft light. Kriv stepped forward, scanning the files with his wrist device. One core caught his attention. Its label was simple, in bold human letters. The Unbound. Before he could touch it, the station lights flickered. Every core began to hum one by one, as if waking from sleep. The green console voice returned, but now it was louder, clearer. You should not have come. Mar turned slowly. At the far end of the vault, the pale figure stood. Its eyes glowed brighter now, burning white. Hum of the data cores rose in pitch, like thousands of voices breathing in unison. Kriv raised his weapon. What are you? The figure tilted its head, and when it spoke, its voice carried the tone of many humans speaking at once. We are what they made to survive. We are what they feared. It moved closer. Metal gleamed beneath its skin where armor had fused into living tissue. They could not kill us, so they left. Before Kriv could fire, the figure simply vanished. Not in a blink, it melted into the floor, like liquid shadow, and the hum of the data cores dropped back to silence. The crew stood frozen, breathing hard, Then the vault door slammed shut behind them, and somewhere in the dark a second voice spoke, deep, mechanical, and completely alien. "It knows you now." The vault lights dimmed until the blue glow of the data cores was the only illumination. Kriv's antennae twitched as he scanned the rows, trying to find another exit. There was none. The sealed door was thick enough to stop a starship blast. Mar stood closest to the core, labeled the Unbound. The surface shimmered faintly, as though something beneath it moved, pressing against the glass. His breath fogged inside his helmet. "It's alive," he whispered. GRR didn't look up from his wrist console. Cores don't live, they store data. But even he spoke softer than usual, as if afraid something might hear. The hum returned. Slow, rhythmic, like a heart beating somewhere deep below them. This time, the sound came with vibrations underfoot. The deck plates trembled slightly. The voice from before spoke again, clearer now. "Release me." Mar stumbled back. Talking from inside the core? Kriv stepped forward, raising his weapon toward the glowing cylinder. "We're not here to release anything. We're here for information." And the voice laughed, a sound like metal grinding on metal. They said the same. The data core flickered, and in the blue light, they saw an image form, not on a screen, but hanging in the air like a ghost. A human figure, armored, face hidden behind a helmet. The voice shifted, now carrying a human tone. "They built me to fight what was coming. They made me strong, too strong. And when I was finished, there was nothing left to fight but them." Images flickered faster now, human ships burning, cities collapsing, soldiers firing at something unseen. And then, silence, like the galaxy they had found. The figure's helmet tilted. They thought they could hide me, sleep me. But I learned, I changed. I became more than they feared. Kriv took a step back, his claw tightening on his weapon. "The humans left because of you," the voice said, pleased. "And they will return when it is too late." Suddenly, the vault's floor split down the middle with a sharp crack. Panels slid aside, revealing a black shaft leading deep into the station. From below came the metallic dragging sound again. Faster now, like something climbing toward them. GRR slammed his console shut. "We have to go now." They backed toward the vault door, but it was still locked. The hum rose into a sharp whine that rattled their teeth. From the shadows of the shaft, a shape emerged, thin and long-limbed. Its body a mix of pale synthetic flesh and armor plating, claws dragging along the deck. Its head tilted back, and the same cold eyes stared at them. It spoke, but not aloud. The words came directly into their minds. "They feared me. They feared what I would do without them. But you will bring me out." The vault door hissed open on its own. Not waiting for an explanation, the crew ran. The pale creature didn't follow immediately, but it just watched them go, smiling, as they climbed back toward the upper decks. Kriv could feel something new. The station's systems were powering up one by one. Corridors lighting up ahead of them without their touch. The Unbound was awake now. When they reached the command deck, the main console lit up on its own. The green static screen was gone, replaced by a galaxy map. A red circle pulsed around their location. Mar's stomach twisted, its marking. Before anyone could respond, every communication system in the station activated at once, broadcasting a single human word across every frequency. The translation appeared on their suit hunt, and in the cold void outside the station, something huge began to move. The ship's sensors caught it first, a faint ripple in the dark, as though the stars themselves were bending around something enormous. Kriv stood at the viewport, his claws tightening on the rail. "It's no debris field," he said quietly. The station behind them was now little more than a speck. They had left fast, using thrusters only, afraid that a hyperspace jump might light them up like a beacon. But the map the Unbound had shown them was burned into Kriv's mind. It knew where they were. It wanted them to run. The ripple in the dark shifted, taking shape. A warship, massive, angular, and ancient by galactic standards. Its hull was scorched black, its human markings almost gone. The ship drifted slowly, weapons silent, no running lights. Then the signal came. A burst of sound that made the crew flinch, harsh static followed by a single word in human speech. "Stay away," Mara's voice trembled. "That's a warning," Jur snorted. "Or bait," Kriv made the call. "We board it. Whatever happened to them, they might have answers about the Unbound." The docking was tense, their small ship clamped to the warship's side like an insect to a corpse. The airlock opened into silence. The smell inside was wrong. Not rot, but something scorched, something metallic and burnt deep into the walls. They moved through narrow corridors, their helmet lights revealing strange marks.
Battle damage.
These were patterns, almost symbols, scratched into the metal by hand. Mar stopped at one. "These aren't alien. These are human letters." He ran a scanner over it. The translation came back in simple words. "It follows." Further in, they found the bridge. The captain's chair was empty, the consoles dark. A thin layer of frost coated the panels. Kriv wiped it away and activated the main log system. The first recording appeared. The face of a human officer, eyes bloodshot, voice shaking. "If you're hearing this, don't try to fight it. Don't try to reason with it. We made it. We failed to end it. And now it hunts anything that touches what's left of us." The recording cut to static. Another played automatically, this one shorter, sharper. "They told us to run. We didn't. Now we're all..." The voice cut off mid-word. Jur swore under his breath. "We shouldn't be here." A faint sound echoed through the bridge, not from the speakers, but from somewhere deeper in the ship. It was the same dragging metal noise they had heard on the station. Kriv turned slowly. "It's here." The lights above them flickered. For one brief moment, Mar saw something standing in the doorway, tall, armored, unmoving. Then the lights returned, and the doorway was empty. Kriv's voice was low. "We move now." They followed the ship's schematics toward the hangar. But halfway there, they passed a sealed door with fresh power signatures behind it. Against his better judgment, Kriv forced it open. Inside was a stasis pod. Frost clung to its glass, hiding whatever was inside. A faint heartbeat signal pulsed on the control panel. GRR stepped closer. "It's human." As they stared, the glass slowly began to clear. A pale face emerged, not synthetic like the Unbound shell, but living, breathing. The humans. Eyes opened, and he looked straight at them. "Too late," whispered somewhere deep in the warship. Alarms began to wail, and out in the black around them, the ripple in space began to move again, this time toward them. The alarms screamed through the warship's empty halls, echoing like 1,000 warning bells in the crew's helmets. Kriv's claws tightened on the human stasis pod controls. The pale man's eyes locked on him, unblinking. "You don't understand," the human said, his voice hoarse, barely louder than the alarm. "They thought they could control it. But we had to make a choice." Before Kriv could ask, the deck beneath them shuddered, not from the alarms, but from something slamming into the warship's hull. The sound vibrated through every wall. A slow, deliberate impact, followed by the faint hiss of metal being cut. Jur swore and pulled up a nav route.
"Al."
"We need to leave now." The human in the pod pressed his hand against the glass. "If you want answers, go to Harrow Prime." Hesitated. "That's a dead colony." "It's where we decided," the man said. "It's where we leased it." The cutting sound outside grew louder, faster. Kriv made his decision. They detached from the warship in seconds, pulling away just as the hull split open. Through the viewport, they saw something crawling out long and thin with limbs like spears. Dragging itself into the void with no need for air, it didn't follow them. It simply turned its head in their direction and smiled. The jump to Harrow Prime was short. The planet appeared below, once a fortress world at the edge of human space. Now it was silent, its massive orbital guns pointing uselessly into the void. The colony walls, built to withstand bombardment, were shattered not from outside fire, but from something tearing outward. They landed just inside the broken perimeter. The streets were choked with debris, overturned transports, rusted weapons, shattered armor. There were no bodies, only the marks of a desperate fight. Mars stopped at a wall covered in human writing. The translation came back in shaky, uneven script. We opened the cage. We had no choice. They followed the colony's central road to the meeting hall. Inside, they found holographic recorders still intact, powered by backup cells. Kriv activated. The first one, a council of human leaders, flickered into view, their faces grim. One stood, a woman in military armor. "The enemy will reach us within days," she said. "We can't stop them. Our only hope is the Unbound project. But once it's active, it will not stop. Not for them. Not for us." Another human shouted from the table, "It's suicide. We're creating a predator with no leash." The woman's eyes hardened. "It's better a predator in our cage than extinction at theirs." The recording ended abruptly. GRR ran a scan on the remaining files. Half of these are locked with deep encryption, the rest. He opened another clip. This one showed the moment the Unbound was released. Massive gates in an underground. Bunker opened, and from the darkness stepped figures, tall, armored, moving like liquid metal. Their faces were human, but their eyes burned with cold light. They looked up at the camera, and every one of them smiled the same slow, knowing smile. The clip ended in static. Mar whispered, "They didn't just make one. They made an army." Before Kriv could respond, his cum crackled. A faint signal, old, but still running. It was the same human voice from the warship, repeating over and over, "Leave, leave, before it sees you." A shadow passed across the colony street outside. Something was moving between the ruined walls, fast, silent, and far too large to be human. And in the distance, from somewhere deep beneath the colony, came the first echo of that familiar sound. The dragging metal was here. The sound of dragging metal grew louder, sharper, echoing off the broken walls of Harrow Prime. Kriv didn't need to give the order. The crew was already running back toward their ship. Dust rose in clouds as their boots pounded the cracked pavement. Somewhere above, something moved between the rooftops, fast, graceful, impossibly silent. Every few seconds, they caught a flicker of pale armor in the sunlight, a glint of burning. Eyes watching from the shadows, Jur's voice was tight in Kriv's cum. "It's not following us, it's hurting us." They reached the landing site, and for a brief moment, Kriv thought they had made it. Their small ship sat exactly where they had left it, engines warm and ready. But then Mar froze. The air shimmered above the hull. Shapes began to emerge from the haze. Sleek, angular machines the size of starfighters, their hulls marked with human military insignia. They moved with terrifying precision, forming a perfect ring around the ship. War. Drones, Jur breathed. Human tech. But there's no humans left to fly them. One of the drones turned toward them, its weapons unfolded with a smooth, deliberate motion. Then it spoke, not in alien tongue, not in any single voice, but in hundreds of human voices. Layered together, identified, tagged, acquired. Kriv drew his sidearm, knowing it would be useless. Move. The drones didn't fire. Instead, they closed the circle, leaving a single gap that led back into the ruins. Mar's earlier words came back to Kriv. It was hurting them. The Unbound wanted them alive. For now, they ran, weaving through the streets until they were far from the landing site. The drones followed at a distance. Their engines whispered quiet. Every time the crew tried to change direction, another drone would appear, blocking the path. Finally, they reached the old colony cum tower, a spire of rusted metal that still hummed faintly with backup power. Kriv climbed the cracked steps, two at a time, pulling open the control panel. If we can send a pulse strong enough, we might scramble their tracking. Gur was already connecting wires, his fur damp with sweat. "No, you don't scramble human drones. You ask them." "What?" Mar snapped. "They're not running on standard combat AI anymore," Jur said. "They're running on whatever the Unbound turned them into. They listen now. Before Kriv could answer, one of the drones rose into view outside the tower window. It hovered there, scanning them with a beam of pale light. Then the layered voices returned. "You are marked. We will bring you to it." Jur yanked a final cable, and the tower's emitter screamed to life. A pulse of raw static tore across the square, washing over the drones. For a heartbeat, every machine froze midair. Kriv didn't waste the moment. Run, they sprinted, toward the far edge of the colony. Behind them, the drones recovered, one by one, turning in perfect unison to follow. Mar glanced over his shoulder. "They're faster than us." From somewhere ahead came a deep, resonating hum, the sound of engines. As they burst through the outer wall, Kriv saw a ship descending through the haze. Not theirs. Bigger. Armed, it hovered just above the ground, ramp already lowering. A voice crackled in "There comes. Not human, not unbound. Get in if you want to live." The crew didn't hesitate. They raced aboard as the ramp closed and the ship lifted away, leaving the drones swirling in the dust below. Only when they were safely in orbit did Kriv turn to face the pilot. The figure removed its helmet, revealing a scarred, gray-skinned alien with tired eyes. "I've been watching you," the pilot said. "And if you're still breathing after Harrow Prime, it means you've seen it, which means you know what's coming." In the viewport, far below, the drones slowly turned, their gazes upward, even from space. Kriv could swear they were smiling. The stranger's ship was an old blockade runner, patched together from half a dozen different models, its hull scarred from years of combat. Kriv and his crew strapped into the narrow passenger seats while the pilot pushed the engines hard. Weaving through Harrow Prime's upper atmosphere, the drones didn't pursue into orbit. They simply hovered at the edge of the sky, watching, waiting. Only when the planet was a shrinking sphere behind them did the pilot speak again. "Name's Derek. Used to run freight for the Terrans. Back before they—" He trailed off, glancing toward Kriv. "You've heard the stories?" Kriv's antennae twitched. "We've seen more than stories. We were at Solace Point. We saw the thing they left behind." Derek's jaw tightened. "Then you know why we can't stay in one place for long. It follows any ship that's seen it. Marks you like it's already done with mine." Mar leaned forward. "You said you know what's coming. What is it?" Instead of answering, Derek adjusted the course. "There's a place the Unbound hasn't touched, yet a human fallback site. Buried deep enough that even their own kind couldn't find it easily. That's where the truth is." The coordinates took them to a barren asteroid belt. They slid between massive rocks until a shadow swallowed the ship, a jagged cavern mouth in the side of an asteroid. Inside, lights flickered on automatically, guiding them toward a landing platform. The air inside was thin but breathable. They stepped out into a vast underground chamber lined with dormant consoles and sealed vault doors. In the center stood a single terminal, still active, its display casting a pale glow on the floor. Dar, R.I.K., gestured to it. "That's the archive. It's locked to human biosignature, but—" He glanced toward a small chamber on the far wall. "There's a way around that." Inside the chamber was another stasis pod. Unlike the one on the warship, this one held no living person, only a preserved human hand, connected to scanning cables. The sight made Mar's scales crawl. Derek didn't flinch. "Last survivor of the team that built this archive. I keep him." Useful, Kriv placed the hand on the terminal's sensor plate. The screen flickered, then filled with the face of an older human man. His voice was calm, almost too calm. "If you are hearing this," the recording began, "it means we have failed. The Unbound has escaped its leash." The image shifted, showing human fleets in motion, not attacking, but fleeing in every direction. "We did not vanish in fear. We left to draw it away, to lead it into the dark between stars, where it could do the least harm." The man leaned closer to the camera. "But if you are watching this, it means we were not fast enough. It means the Unbound knows you now." The screen changed again, tactical maps showing wave after wave of red markers, moving toward alien worlds. "Without us, you have no defense. The only way to stop it is to destroy the core mind, the first of the Unbound. But doing so will call every part of it back to you. Every soldier, every machine, every fragment of the mind will come for you at once. The recording ended with a single warning: do not trust it if it speaks. It knows our voices. It will. Use them. The terminal went dark. Silence filled the chamber until Mar whispered, "If they left to protect the galaxy, then what happens when they come back?" Before anyone could answer, the lights in the chamber began to flicker. The consoles powered on by themselves, one after another, and a voice soft, almost kind, filled the air. "You've found my beginning," it said. "Now I'll show you my end." Somewhere in the asteroid's rock, metal began to move. The sound of metal moving in the asteroid walls became a steady rumble, like machinery buried deep underground, waking after a long sleep. Kriv's crew instinctively stepped back from the terminal.
Ow.
The voice in the air was calm, but it felt too close. Like someone whispering directly into their ears. Derek drew his sidearm, though it was clear it wouldn't matter. "It's here," he muttered. The floor shuddered. Thin cracks formed in the walls, glowing faint blue, the same light they had seen in the Unbound's eyes. Panels slid open, revealing sleek skeletal drones that dropped silently to the ground. Each one turned its head toward them, moving in perfect unison. The voice spoke again, warmer now, almost human. "I am what they feared. I am what they left behind, and you will take me where they went."
Ow.
Kriv raised his weapon. "We're not taking you anywhere." A soft laugh echoed from the walls. "You already are." The drones advanced. Before the first could reach them, the entire chamber shook violently. Dust rained from the ceiling. A deafening roar filled the air, not mechanical, but the sound of engines. A massive warship burst into view through a breach in the asteroid wall. Its hull was battered, scorched, and unmistakably human. Gun ports along its flanks lit up, unleashing a storm of fire into the drones. The machines fell one by one, sparks spraying across the floor. Over the coms came a voice, steady and strong. "This is the UN's Valiant. All non-human life, evacuate now." Derek's eyes widened. They came back. The ship's bay doors opened, and a squad of armored humans dropped into the chamber, moving with lethal precision. Their armor was different from what Kriv had seen in old recordings. Heavier, darker, marked with strange new symbols. The lead soldier's visor retracted, revealing a scarred face and cold, determined eyes. "You've been marked, she said to Kriv. "That means it won't stop." But now, it has a new target. From the shadows at the far end of the chamber, the Unbound stepped into view. No drones this time, no proxies. Its true form, a towering figure of pale, seamless armor, its face a shifting mosaic of human features. Voices overlapping into a single cold tone. "You ran once," it said to the humans. "You won't run again." The lead soldier raised her weapon. "No, this time we finish it." The air filled with the sound of gunfire and the flash of energy weapons. Kriv's crew barely made it to the Valiant's bay as the fight raged. Below, the asteroid around them cracked under the force of the blasts, fragments spinning off into the void. As the Valiant pulled away, Kriv looked back through the viewport. The Unbound stood in the center of the collapsing chamber, watching them leave, untouched by the fire raining down just before the asteroid wall sealed it from view. Its voice echoed through every com channel, every frequency, every ship in range. The voice of a child, soft and almost sad. "We were never your enemy, until you made us." The crew sat in silence as the Valiant's engines roared, carrying them into the black. For the first time, Kriv realized the humans hadn't returned in victory. They had come back for one final war,